Hello there, many thanks for joining us on JSA Live this beautiful evening. It's wonderful to know you're right there as we analyze and discuss national issues. We are here once again. Today we'll be talking about President Bola Tinubu having signed a new minimum wage bill into law. This bill provides a minimum wage at 70% for both public and private sectors. The conversations have been rife around that. Is 70,000 naira enough? But Nigerian labor unions are even helping the president to justify this amount. This is also at a time when young people are going for a protest. I've been threatening this protest, which is supposed to start tomorrow, the 1st of August. It's a lot of other states have supposedly started. We've seen pockets of demonstrations here and there. This protest is tagged "End Bad Governance Now." But what is indeed the demands, and are they sustainable? Are they too fast to judge this president? That's the conversation we'll be having. In the studio with me is a risk management expert. He's a social and public affairs commentator, Bosun Adeyeye. Thank you so much for being part of the program. You smiled because did I get the name right this time? Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. It's been quite some time.
It's been a while. Thank you so much for coming to discuss this very important issue at a time when Nigerians seem to, be a bit volatile. The government is afraid at the moment that this action might stifle economic activities and productivity, might also be hijacked by hoodlums, and we'll see, like we've seen in other countries and in other protests, violence that erupt. But that's a conversation we'll start having after this short break. We'll be back to discuss more. Welcome back from that very short break. Like I said, we're going to be discussing the impending or looming strike. I hate the word looming. Seems like, oh, there's something really sinister about to happen. But what do you think, before we get into the justification for this, how it can be mitigated or curbed? What do you think of young people and, in fact, Nigerians calling for a protest?
Thank you, Joy. Thank you once again. I will start this evening to say Nigerians have the liberty at any time when they discover that things are not going the right way. They also have this right guaranteed by our constitution, which is the ground norm. So at any point, not only this time, Nigerians have always protested from time immemorial.
Exactly.
I stumbled on one write-up, and somebody was chronicling different protests
over the many years.
Some of which even the current president participated.
Championed, not just participated.
Participated. I choose my word.
Right.
So, but the question is this: is it legitimate concern that those people who are talking about this protest have? Possibly yes. Are they going about it the right way? Possibly yes or no. That is debatable. But there are dimensions to what is going on currently. But to just answer your question, I think for me, the concerns of the general public in Nigeria today about the hardship, about the hunger, and about how people are angry could be very, very legitimate. But remember, I said something before the studio time, that most of the challenges we have today, government contributed and Nigerians also on their own contributed in one way or the other. But I believe we'll have time to talk about this as the session goes on.
Right. I like that you said Nigerians contributed to most of the problems. I can't help but ask, how did the Nigerian citizens contribute to what we have today?
Yes, we can place the 90% of the blame on the door of government. But I tell you, because what concerns an average Nigerian who are not politicians, who are not high net worth individuals, is basic amenities. Basic life requirements, which is food, shelter. Every other
water,
thing is luxury.
Roads, right.
You understand? And when you talk about food inflation today in Nigeria, why I say it's 90% blame on the door of the president or the government of the day is part of the issues we discussed earlier. One of the major issues that is contributing to the food insecurity today in Nigeria is government. I mean, it's insecurity. Insecurity has gone so bad that people are thinking what is happening now is just what is happening now. No. There are documents, there are reports, there are researches that have been done 3-4 years ago, indicating that by this time or time before now, Nigeria will run into food crisis. Because over the last 5 years or more, Nigerian farmers have been finding it difficult to farm.
Right. Where
at times they even manage to farm, their harvests were set ablaze by banditries, by Boko Haram, and in some cases where they can actually access the farm, they pay something like tax.
Yes, a structured tax to these people
to access their farm, to even work, not to talk of to harvest. And at the time of harvest, they share the loot, they share the harvest. So what I'm saying is that government has its blame. But let's come to how Nigerians have contributed.
That's what I am interested in.
Some of the video circulating.
Making rounds, right.
I know you saw some of them. How the recent distributed foodstuff by federal government are being rebagged. You give, between last year and now, this government has been in government for like 12 months.
Yes.
And they have done a number of interventions, some of them wrongly done, some of them rightly done. But one of the issues I have with it is the fact that so much has been done with little impact. And you ask yourself, how is it not translating to better living standard for Nigeria? Let's not go too far. By December last year, this government shared certain money for our legislators at the federal level, both House of Reps and senators,
to go back and
go to their constituency and distribute. It was only one senator in the north that started sharing, that made Nigerians to know that
there was actually
like
monies.
Because they couldn't hear from many of those people that are supposed to do this. And
is this at the point? I want to know if this is at the point where you blame the citizens.
Wait now. Okay. You ask me questions.
I cannot help myself.
Are those people not Nigerians?
They are
Those
Nigerians.
who I mentioned now.
They are
the people rebagging the rice and the gari and beans that we saw on social media, are they not Nigerians?
They are.
The people, okay, let me give you this typical example. A few days ago, my wife went to the market, bought a portion of garden egg. She just wanted to do garden egg sauce. And she bought a market close to her place. And when she bought the garden egg, the following day, our friend was going to a place called Orange Market, where you have
several things,
food stuff from the farm areas. And by the time she got to that place, she bought, because she saw it in very large quantity, so she bought 4. And this is where all the people selling in that market where she bought the previous day were going to buy. She bought 400 naira home. So she showed me why I came back from work. Now, see what I bought yesterday, see what I bought today. And the 400 naira home was more than times 10
times 10
of
what she
200 naira she bought. And I was now asking her, are these people not buying from? He said yes, that they are buying from that same market. That you can even see some of them in the market
right
when
there
they went
buying.
there. So somebody will ask, is it dollar that affected what they were doing?
And somebody will say it's transportation,
How
transporting
much
these
is
commodities.
it's a place that I'm familiar with.
Transporting these commodities.
Transportation between that place to that place. If you are not carrying anything, will take you maybe 600 naira go come. If you are carrying something, maybe a bag, maximum 2,000 naira.
Right.
If the portion my wife bought is times 10, and I know they are not going to, they buy in bags.
Right.
So I'm saying it is not justified.
So
I
we are
also know
sabotaging.
there is a lot of sabotage, there is a lot of wickedness on the part of Nigerians. We are actually killing ourselves in the name of, oh, things are difficult, things are hard. Everybody is profiteering. Everybody is using opportunity he or she has to cheat the other person. I've gone through, I saw a video in June by some chiefs in Ekiti. They went to a market where they were selling pepper. This market we had malams who came from the north, who supply and fellow malams too, who reside in Ekiti, bought from the same people, and our people from Ekiti bought. But by the time they will sell in the same market, they show the size of what our people were selling and what a malam was selling. That malam's own 200 naira was the size of what our people were selling, 500 naira, in the same market. It went to the extent that the chiefs had to come to the market. I saw another one recently in Ile-Ife, that the Oni of Ife has to send powerful delegation to the market and like causing the people that are inflicting these pains on our people. Because, you know, people will always shout, oh, government is this, government is that. What we are doing to ourselves is more than what government is doing. We have representatives who collect monies on behalf of the people that are supposed to share it to them. They pocket the money, allegedly. We have situations where just last 2 weeks, between last 2 weeks and now, 20 trailer of rice went to each state of the federation.
Right.
20 trailer of rice is not more money. It should be something that should come to any state and there will be impact in the market. Where are those things ending up? You don't expect Tinubu to follow the trailer to these states. If the governors that are voted for with popular votes cannot be trusted to look for how the lives of the people they govern
can actually
will be
cushion the,
so who should be
effect.
trusted? Who else again can be trusted? So I'm saying that the concerns of the people planning to protest, very, very valid. But I also believe that over the years, I remember I said it in one of our sessions before now, that our over concentration of federal government will lead us nowhere. Because federal government does not have any land in any state. When they want to, you mentioned the issue of, before we started, you mentioned the issue of the cultivation of various food items, like wheat, like corn, like millets, that government announced last year. It will be done in the states. I expect many of these states to take it up, just like what this man is doing in Niger State. Bago is doing agricultural revolution in that place. What are those other states doing? At this time when everybody can say it's an emergency time, many of these state governors are still in the habit of receiving allocation, and the same week that allocation you received, you go to Zone 4
and change it.
You will see how dollar will skyrocket.
Change it into dollars.
Because they change this money to foreign currencies, and you don't see the impact in the lives of the people.
Speaking about
all what we are saying is, oh, Tinubu is this, Tinubu is that. Tinubu is not the only one representing us in government.
That's true.
All he can do is what he's doing. And like I said, the people working around Tinubu, particularly his communication team, I think one person that is doing a very good work is the Honorable Minister of Information. The guy is professionally doing his work and is doing it maturely. But other people in that team, they are not doing enough. It's not just enough to attack people. you must communicate in such a way that you are convincing people that this government is actually doing something.
How would that make anybody feel any better? I mean, we're talking about welfare. You just mentioned the dire situation in our markets at the moment.
I started by saying,
right, but before you go there, I would like you to just address this issue of states. Again, palliatives have been sent to states, and the states are just waiting for this allocation. Do you think these states that are waiting for allocation every year can pay 70%, 70,000 naira minimum wage that the government or the president has just signed into law?
Over the years, the suspects has always been the state governors or the states that will not be able to pay. I can tell you, till this signing of 70,000 naira minimum wage, there were still some states in Nigeria that have not paid 30,000 minimum wage.
Zamfara just announced during the Labor Day to pay 30,000 naira, and everybody said hooray.
So if up till the current time,
since 2019,
over 5 years, law had not been obeyed at 30,000 naira minimum wage, you need to listen to Ruben Abati this morning on his show, talking about the fact that the president has signed up this law, but how about the implementation? How about the enforcement? But you also understand that we are operating a federal system of government
that gives
where the president
cannot
lord it over any state because they are coordinate component parts within a federal system. So all government can do is to appeal to the governors. The federal government can do is to appeal to the governors. And again, I think it is also time for Mr. President to begin to borrow some tricks, techniques of administration of Chief Olusegun Obasanjo.
I knew you were going there.
Yes, because the President, Ahmed Bola Tinubu, is trying to be a thorough Democrat.
Right.
And I could see in the last 1 year, it's not been producing the right result.
What would you rather have?
From June 2023, the allocations going to states in Nigeria, most of them had doubled. In a state like Nasarawa State, we recently read that it is 100% increase. The same or ditto some of these riverine areas, apart from their 17%
allocations, right? So this was supposed to capture the subsidy removal.
Yes, because the genesis of all what we are going through in Nigeria today is the removal of subsidy. I said it on ASU television in one of your shows that government will always look for an easy way to tackle our collective problems.
True.
And one of those easy ways is to remove oil subsidy because they could not fight the cartel that was taking trillions of naira in the name of paying subsidy. And they thought like, okay, if you cannot fight these people, the best thing is for us to remove it completely.
Right.
And when they do, truly, the coffers of government become blossoming. The money is coming in hard currencies. And it is translating to more money to be shared among the federating units. But as we speak today, I've not seen local government that are saying, thank God, our lives are becoming better. I've not seen states, the civil servants in different states that are saying, oh, we are faring better now because government receive more money. And up to today or yesterday when the bill was signed, they are still paying old amounts as salaries, except places like Edo that are now 70,000 naira few months ago.
Yeah, exactly.
I've not seen states that have started paying, apart from maybe wage award that they've been doing. And many of them have not. They've been doing something very ridiculous. Most states was paying 10,000 naira wage award. I don't know how that one can be effective.
Or justified by anybody.
So it means the money they are collecting since June last year that has doubled what they used to collect
has not reflected.
What have they been using those monies for? Who have been questioning them? Many of these guys that are behind this protest that are being planned, they come from states. How much of holding to accountability have they done to their state governors? How much of time have they devoted to question how those state governors have spent their monies? Those local governments, we have 774 local governments in Nigeria. At some point, you know, I said something about the fact that this government has done so much, but it has not been communicated properly by the communication team of the president. I can tell you without jumping around that this government has taken some landmark decisions, that the effect of those decisions will only be known after 6 months or 1 year. One of them is local government autonomy. Whether you like it or not today, except the local government chairman that his head is dull. Because after signing it into law, you will account for every kobo that comes to your local government.
Ideally.
So it's not ideally.
Ideally.
No, I will explain.
Because here we go again.
I will explain.
You're expecting them to be different. We see them as the regular politicians.
I will explain why there will be consequences to you. You can say, okay, the governors that we know in Nigeria, they are always the one that determine who are the local government chairmen.
Exactly.
They are their errand boys.
Exactly, exactly.
And therefore, they do the bidding of the governor.
The governor.
But you understand that governor has 4 years to spend, or maximum 8 years. And after which, whatever he himself had done could be called to question, could be queried. So he will be only carrying his own cross. The same way it could be called to account is the same way an average local government chairman will be called to account. Right. So the first 2-3 years, we may see gullibility on the side.
Are you not contradicting yourself? You just mentioned how Nigerians are not holding their governors accountable. They all come from local government. They all come from states. But everybody's looking to the federal. What would change when federal government, when the local government enjoyed the financial autonomy? We will still be looking at Tinubu to do everything.
It's not contradictory.
And
I'm explaining this to you. The law has been signed. The law has been pronounced because judgment of Supreme Court of Nigeria is law.
It's final, right?
So the law has been is like pronounced already. It's now a law.
It is
that from the time the judgment was given, allocations will only go to only properly elected
local
government leaders.
Right.
So all those caretaker committees,
it's supposed to be out, and in fact it threatened their July allocation, FARC allocation, right?
So what that means is that if you have direct allocation from federal government, you won't tell me stories. And besides, the amount that goes to local governments are always published in certain journals. So people at the local government now can actually follow the money. They can call to account their councillors and local government chairmen. And I'm saying I'm not contradicting myself in the sense that the time we were talking about before now was a different time.
I'm still talking about today.
I'm talking about the new season we have now. Because at the point when that judgment was given, things have changed about local government in Nigeria. And that is why you said that July allocation was threatened.
Yeah, for the caretaker chairman. And
I can tell you, if government will do what is right, allocation shouldn't go to any state that does not have properly elected local government chairman.
As the law has
decided. I think it's almost 1 month or plus now. So I want to say that much more efforts should be made by NGOs, by the civil rights activists,
to get accountability and transparency.
Get our local government leaders, state government leaders, because at the state government also we have the legislature, the executive, but all we hear is governor. And the reason is because most of the state assemblies in Nigeria have become the appendages of the governor. They are just
because the governors over the years have become some sort of emperors.
And that's why over the years, local government autonomy bill has never been passed into law. Because by the time National Assembly passes the bill, by the time it goes to the state assembly, the governors will tell them, I want to see the first person that will raise the motion that it should be passed.
And nobody has the guts.
This man called Ahmed Bola Tinubu courageously took the case to Supreme Court and got the judgment in favor of the local government chairman, which ordinarily the governors will never give a nod to. So I am saying that government needs to do so much, but we should reduce our concentration on federal government. And I'm saying it because the question is, do I see the states paying the 70,000 naira minimum wage?
Yes,
I can
that's
tell
the question.
The state will have to pay.
The state will have to pay.
In paying this minimum wage, there will be consequences in some states. And one of the consequences will be that we will pay the 70,000, but there will be downsizing or right sizing.
Well, that's what a lot of experts have continued to say, but it's time to go for a short break. We'll come back after this very short break to discuss more. We're still talking about the 70,000 naira minimum wage bill that has become an act right now and the looming protest. We'll be back. Welcome back from that short break. We're still discussing the looming strike. My guest in the studio is trying to tell Nigerians to give the president a break, that the president has some initiatives and programs and policies that will materialize in just a couple of months, and you will begin to see dividends of democracy, which is what Nigerians are asking for. The conversation has gotten or has gone right now to the minimum wage conversation, and are states going to pay? And if they do not pay, how do we compel governors to pay? Well, that's where we ended the conversation before that short break. Bosun Adeyeye, risk management expert, is right here. Please tell us how we can ensure that governors pay this, and if they do not, what can the consequences be from the office of the citizens, of course? Yes,
thank you, Joy. Just like flowing from what we were saying before we went on break, the office of the citizens of Nigeria have a lot of work to do. But like I said, we got it wrong at the point of negotiation for this minimum wage. Many experts were of the opinion that it will have allowed federal government to negotiate for their own staff, while individual states will negotiate individually. But somebody will remind you that, oh, it's minimum wage,
it's supposed to be national, exactly,
and all that. Yes, but over the years, it has not worked for us as a nation. We just spent time talking about the fact.
But wouldn't that be giving these governors a break? Because you're supposed to look inwards to generate revenue to ensure that your people are not really suffering.
So the point is this: if you have allowed individual states to negotiate, the negotiation will be done on individual state peculiarity. Because situation where we are not really getting it right. We're a situation where you are saying Lagos state government should pay the same minimum wage with Kwara state government, my state. You are not being fair. Situation where you are saying Zamfara state government should pay the same minimum wage with Rivers state. You are not being fair. Living standards in those places are not the same. The rent in Lagos and in Zamfara, it's not the same. The rent in Ilorin and in Rivers State, Port Harcourt.
This would not be fair to who? Because remember that I believe that every state has the potential to pay minimum wage if they only look into the potentials of internally generated revenue. Okay. That's what I believe personally.
Yes, when I'm saying it's not fair to both the government and the people in that place.
How that?
And I will explain. Ordinarily, and over the years, that has always been it. Lagos State government has always paid more minimum wage,
right? Because
and I think some states also do that in the recent times. The reason being that they have more money. And the concept of minimum wage should be the minimum anybody will pay.
Right.
And at the point of negotiation, if me that I will pay, I am telling you that based on the facts that I know, because this minimum wage is a tripartite thing. The state government, the organized private sector, and the federal government. So, private sector had said, going into this signing of this bill, that the highest they can guarantee is 62,000 naira. And many other states have also mentioned different prices. But now you signed minimum wage of 70,000 naira. Yes, the labor is fine. The labor is celebrating it. But would there be payment? Would there be enforcement? Will I pay what I don't have? I don't know whether you get what I'm saying. It's not enough to just sign built into law. Do the people that's supposed to pay? I read here now that every employer
is to pay,
law compels all employers to pay 70,000 naira minimum wage. Meanwhile, in the previous law, the law allows any organization that has less than 25 employees to pay a varied amount. But if this current law is saying every employer, so if you have 1-2 employer, you have to pay minimum wage of 70,000 naira. Let's see how it goes.
Let's see how it goes. But I would like to ask you, for someone who works around the economy of Nigeria, would this affect products and services? Because
and like I said, before I answer this, I told you that in the concept of minimum wage, even in economics textbooks, there's something we call black wage.
What I would like to know.
Yes, black wage is a situation where there is a minimum wage, and I am saying I can't pay minimum wage. If I cannot pay minimum wage for 10 staff, and I decide to say, okay, I can only afford to pay 3 staff, but some staff believe that instead of them to be laid off from the job, they are ready to collect 30,000 naira. Mutual agreement. There is nothing like compelling anybody. There's no any coercion in this. I'm saying, oh yes, I know minimum wage is 70,000 naira, but I'm ready to take 25,000 naira because I need the money badly. I need the job badly. So there is always that concept over time. Just like the same way you have what do you call it? This minimum price thing. So you always have the aspect where people can actually explore certain loopholes. So this one is fine. The optic is fine for the federal government. It's good for President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. But I'm saying that will all the stakeholders be able to comply and abide by this law, particularly the organized private sector?
And I'm asking, speaking about the organized private sector, what's the danger in this, compelling them to pay 70,000?
The danger is clear now. We are all in this, and we understand that private organized private sectors, they are not charity homes.
Of course, they must make money and they will capture
already many of them are complaining about hostile
environment,
working environment,
business
environment. God bless you. And now, to add to that load they are already carrying, wage bill is now skyrocketing. So the only simple thing is, one, at a point when we are no more making profits, possibly we are struggling to break even, something will happen.
These are people who have to pay several taxes, by the way.
Yes.
They need
so if I have 25
there's an energy problem that they have to settle.
So if I have, so now many organizations will increase workload. Job descriptions will have to change because the work 10 people do before cannot be done by 3 people, because there could be, I'm not a prophet of doom, but I'm saying that one of those possibilities is that there could be a right sizing or downsizing in some organizations, because it's either you stay to comply with the law and you have a dwindling fortunes in your business, except government move fast to do some of those things that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu announced last year to support businesses and economy generally, because some of them have taken so long time to come to fruition. One of them is
whatever
CNG buses issue.
There was the energizing the
there is the issue of
MSMEs.
75 billion naira for 75 companies support.
Exactly.
There's the issue of how many
agriculture. There was
issue of agriculture.
Yeah.
So many things are being brought
state of emergency on agriculture.
But many of them are still not yet uru. We are still expecting. So like I said earlier, I think for me, the government is slow in certain policy implementations.
Why do you think that is? Because it seems like this president is not taking into cognizance the fact that when this money is getting to governors, yes. We thought that I
think that's the for me, that's the major undoing of Mr. President. Routing so many things through the state governors is a major problem, because we have not seen the impact of those things.
He still doesn't.
It keeps pumping money to them,
to governors,
and we have not seen anything. And the whole thing comes back to him. Nobody is mentioning those governors. They keep mentioning Tinubu, and that is why I think I learned it will broadcast maybe tomorrow or so. So I expect to hear some things that will actually make people to understand that truly our president is listening and is ready to actually alleviate those hardship they are talking about. But I want to say this: this government has taken decisions that, like I said earlier, will have impact in the coming months. One of them is the issue of student loan. Okay. When America was going through a tough time, around 1950s, they came up with this idea because they knew that time that they had problem with their education. And by the time they introduced something like this, the education of America turned around. I can tell you in the next 4-8 years, we will see the impact of what this man has just done. Within the last few days, we have heard that over 18,000 Nigerians have accessed that loan. I heard about the story of a man whose son had an admission, maybe somewhere in Kogi State or so, that they've thought that the child would lose that admission because there was no way to pay. But the child accessed this loan, and they received message from the school that the money has been paid. They didn't just pay the school fees, they also pay stipend for the individual students that are concerned. I tell you, this is one of the best policies of this government so far.
Before you go further,
it touches those people that actually need intervention.
Now, this is a country that has not harmonized its many bio data. We have the NIN, we have the BVN, and yet a lot of fraud happens, and nobody can still pinpoint who did what. This is a country, you know, the Anchor Borrowers Program, you know, the many other grants that this successive governments actually have started, but it doesn't seem like government is able to, not grant, rather loans to businesses, loans to agricultural sector. Government does not seem to be able to get back their loans, and it makes these loans unsustainable, basically. And that is the concern a lot of experts give when they talk about the student loan. What do you think has been in place? I have not seen any fantastic,
the legal framework in place.
Yes, earlier. Framework that will get them getting back this money.
Place earlier.
That will make it sustainable.
The first bill, people thought, after having gone through it, thought that it was a bit draconian. There are provisions in that, like the issue of saying within 2 years of graduation, you have to start paying, without which you will be sentenced for jail or something. So they have to go back and reward the bill. And the bill now is a bit laissez-faire. It's a bit liberal. But it's still provided that the money that you access throughout your schooling time have to be refunded. But I think the time now is 5 years. So it is no more
that's strict
2 years.
2 years.
So, and a number of other things have been reworked. But one thing I think for me stands out. Even if those people are not able to repay, government has made impact in their lives and families. Let me tell you this. One of the reasons why late Chief Obafemi Awolowo is still a small god in Yoruba land till tomorrow is the fact that he revolutionized education in the Southwest. It's not even the Southwest, it expanded beyond what we call Southwest today. Across Yoruba land that time, including some parts of Kwara and Kogi. So, because they believe that education is power, and when you give education to people, you have removed them from darkness. So one of the reasons why we have so much insecurity in the north today is because of the low education penetration. Many of these people are just brainwashed, and they tell them you are virgins in heaven when you kill fellow human beings, and they believe that gullibly. So there is need for our government, and I think this government is on the right path, to prioritize education. No amount of money spent on education should be too much. And even if those people cannot pay back, I still maintain that government is doing well, so, and they should continue in that trajectory.
I was reading through one of the many demands. You know, this protest has been very much unstructured. It's organic, so you would expect that you will not have that one voice. However, I think the demands that was released by the AAC presidential candidate Showore Omolere Showore, exactly, the one he released, talked about the need for basic education. Most importantly, what are we doing to ensure in the basics, the primary school, the secondary school, have basic education, and it is free? He's asking for free. And then I would like us to also address some of the these demands. Scrap the 1999 Constitution, organize another confab. So
for me,
exactly, there are several. But how
basic education
realistic are some of these demands?
Yes, that's demand from Sorekam. There are different camps planning this protest, and one of the demands of a group include the unconditional release of Nnamdi Kanu.
Yes,
I don't know whether you have seen that. So the challenge with this protest for me is the fact that we have not seen proper coordination. We have not been able to even identify the people behind this protest. But like some people will say, it doesn't matter. But what matters is that let their agenda be clear. Let it be properly communicated. And I also want to say, without missing words, that it is the right of the people who want to protest to protest. It is also the right of the people who don't want to protest to remain and allowed to pursue their livelihoods. Situation where those people who want to protest will now make life difficult for those people who are not interested to protest is also unconstitutional. Where the right of an individual stops is where the other person's own starts.
Continues, right?
So you can't say because you have the right to protest, you barricade the road. I have office to go, I have business to transact, because you feel like you have grievances to express, therefore you should obstruct my own way of life. Right. It's not acceptable. And that is why I've been saying it in my little spheres, that parents should warn their wards and children, because they have given too much time for everybody to plan, including the security. And I see bloodshed if care is not taken. So people should warn their wards, should warn their children. If you don't know the purpose of any protest, don't join them. If you must join, there are many people that will carry placards, they don't even know what they are protesting. They just give them power for the naira to come out and protest. No, no, that's what we see in Abuja. You are in Abuja now.
I am in Abuja. Recently,
the point I'm making is that the protesters, they have right to do so, but they should respect the rights of others. And concerning the question you asked, basic education is key. Already we have Universal Basic Education Commission. I think what government needs to do is not to reinvent the wheel, it's to just rejig, because it's like what we have seen over the years. There are many states that don't access their counterpart funding, and the reason being that they don't put down their own. The fund is there. Many states have not accessed it over the years, because you have to put your own down before you can access the money. But many states turn their blind eye to that kind of fund. So apart from that, I also think that one of the demands of these people to scrap 1999 Constitution and now call for another confab. For me, that is unnecessary road to travel again, because we have a lot of constitutional conferences and confab. The recent one was the 2014 conducted by Jonathan.
The implementation of it, we have not seen.
All government need to do is to go to their archives, bring these things out, and constitute a small committee of possibly 36 members representing each state, and look at this thing and come up convening another foreign member confab like Jonathan did with billions of naira, I don't think it's reasonable way to go this time around. We have a lot of decisions that have been made in the past that are the input of every local community in Nigeria, representing different groups. So why are we going back to do another confab? And besides, nobody can just wake up and by fiat say we scrap 1999 constitution. In fact, we have to still go through the National Assembly.
Exactly.
Except there is what we call what's the word now? That thing that we have to do as a nation.
Referendum.
Referendum. God bless you. Except that, and even there, if there still be referendum, it's still going to be, the motion has to be moved by the National Assembly, passed by the National Assembly before there could be referendum. So I think for me, we should take it easy. I believe that government, this particular government led by Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, means very well.
Right.
It means business. And if you look at him, it's not somebody anybody can intimidate. You can shout, you can do all manner of things. He knows where he's going. And he's taking those things one at a time.
Right.
If we give him enough time, I believe that at the time he's celebrating 2 years in office, we will know that he will have piloted the affairs of Nigeria to a level where people will begin to applaud him. I know one of the reasons why we are where we are today is the removal of fuel subsidy without proper plan for the cushioning, how to cushion the effects of that removal of subsidy. But I believe that with what he has just done yesterday by saying give crude to Dangote and all other refinery within the Nigerian space in naira, not in dollar, because one of those things that the experts have said is that 30% of the pressure on our naira is based on this importation. So if that is out of it, Nigeria will be saving about $7.9 billion annually. That's huge. How much is the whole dollar value of our budget for the year? It's in the range of 20-something billion dollars. So if we are saving from just one sector, $7.9 billion, I think this government is on the right path. We just need to give them a little time. And I can tell you, even if this protest does not hold again on Thursday, it has achieved its impact. As I heard today, all the ministers, because there are more than 36 now,
exactly.
They have been sent on errand to their various states to go and talk to people and to communicate what government is doing to them. But beyond communication, Nigerians want to see in critical and concrete measures what this government are doing and what they plan to do in the coming weeks that will reduce. And I think one of them is selling of a bag of rice at 40,000 naira. Yes. And you asked me, I would say cynically, that is there federal government market where they'll be selling this? Because I know why you asked that question. If they give this rice at 40,000 naira to our people, you will see some people that will collect it and still sell 70,000 naira. Or maybe because we are wicked. Exactly. That's where I started from the other time. That what we do to ourselves is even more than what government is doing to us. So I think government, this particular government led by Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, means very, very well. And if we only give them some time, there will be lights at the end of the tunnel.
I'm happy in spite of what you have said. You have also admitted the justification for a lot of people speaking about this strike. They are feeling the impact of the economic challenges that we all are feeling, really. However, if you have to whisper something, the one thing you can whisper to the president right now to ensure to get people gain trust again in his administration, what would it be?
Well, I would say the president should speak to Nigerians and speak like a true leader that he is. Communicating hope, not a theoretical hope this time around. Communicate hope with things that people can relate with. Okay, Nigerian people, you have spoken and I've heard you clearly. And because of those things that you have enumerated in your demands, in the next 2 weeks, this will be rolled out. In the next 1 month, the CNG buses will begin to function, just like it did during the celebration of 1 year in office.
Yes. That
till the end of this year, the train system in Abuja will be free. To the end of the year. It can come up with things like that. If you put 50 CNG buses, those luxurious buses in Abuja today, and say it is free,
yeah.
it will have great impact in the life of the people.
Right.
You put 200 in Lagos, in Port Harcourt, in our major cities. Then you go to the villages, all this rice that they are sharing. One area that they can share this and it will have meaning is to share to public or civil servants. If you share to them and you subsidize it, most of the families will benefit. Than take it to the market, one faceless people, and they will rebag. I want the president to speak to us and communicate hope in such a way that we can relate with what he's saying. I mean, and I've said it earlier, this president means well, and we need to give him chance because there is light at the end of the tunnel.
Thank you so much, Bosun Adeyeye, for that. He's a risk management expert, and he's told us all we should give the president some time. He has good intentions for the country. But this is where we wrap it up on Just Live. We'll be back tomorrow.